I do get asked quite a bit about how you can tell if somebody means you harm or is harmless. Is there a way beyond visual, beyond just looking at somebody and basically profiling them, that you can tell whether or not somebody means you ill intent? And a tool that I've come up with that I found that I used all the time, almost unconsciously, that I want to pass on to you today is something that I call the interview ping. So the interview ping, let's talk about it. This is going to sound very kind of Hunt for Red October, Captain Ramius, one ping only. But hang in there with me, it'll make some sense. So at the outset, I want to say this technique does tend to be a little bit geographical, regional. It works better in some places than others. Isn't really great in really urban environments, I don't think. And particularly ladies, I want you to be careful with this. You have some cultural things and some gender-based stuff that I want to talk about. We'll get to it later. But as we walk through this, just understand your application of it might be a little different. So here's the way an interview ping works. If I want to know what someone's thoughts are regarding me or how they are interacting with me or what their thoughts are on me, I can first of all read their body language, right? So you can see if somebody's being furtive, you know, if they're looking away and not paying attention to you, or if they're kind of turning but they're keeping that side eye on you, or if they're, you know, skulking and seeing what's going on. You might be able to see that. But here's another tool that you can use that I call the interview ping, and it's very simple. I ask someone how they are and see what comes back to me. So I send a ping out and I see what comes back, and what comes back to me gives me another indication so that I can triangulate what's going on. So if their body language isn't super, you know, positive or whatever, and I go, hey, how are you, man? And if they come back with, I'm good, man, how are you? Well, then that's fine, you know, then they look like they're okay. If I go and I go, hey, how are you today? And they're like, then I don't like that so much. So you got to think about, okay, so what comes back and what's going to be a positive answer? So let's think about how those work. Hey man, how are you doing today? I'm awesome, bro. How are you? You get something like that? No worries, right? We're good. They're not a threat at all because they've come back to me with something kind. The chances of them cloaking an evil intent at that point, pretty small. Hey man, how are you doing? Now at that point, they may not have heard me, right? So maybe they got their earbuds in or something like that, or they just don't know what to say, but that wasn't a reassuring answer, and that would maybe make me keep my space a little bit more, keep aware a little bit more, see what's going on with them because they didn't give me a reassurance. My ping did not return something good. Hey bro, how are you today? You got a problem, fool? Well, clearly that's an issue, right? That came back as aggressive, and so I'd have to maintain even more space and see what's going on from there. Hey man, I didn't mean any offense, de-escalate, escape, evade, those kind of things. So you see, what the interview ping does is it gives me a look inside of somebody in terms of their inward thought processes and their attitude towards me. If it comes back okay, if I go, hey, how are you? And they go, I'm good. Then okay, fine. Or if they're not paying attention to me and they don't answer or whatever, then I'm good. But if what comes out of them and back my way is not friendly, is neutral to aggressive to insulting, well then I know I got other stuff to deal with. Now let's talk really briefly about how women, especially in the US here, can apply something like this. Because I think the thing, ladies, that you have to deal with is that if you go, hi, how are you? A lot of dudes, especially thirsty dudes, are going to take that as an advance. They're going to take that as an opening to hit on you. So you have to be more careful with that. You have to find an interview ping that works for you. Now, I know you've been told many times that you shouldn't make eye contact with a man or you shouldn't vocalize with a man. You should be very submissive to a man. But if a guy's looking for a target, somebody who won't look at him, somebody who won't vocalize at him, somebody who won't acknowledge his presence is somebody that starts looking like prey to him. And so I don't generally recommend that. But if you're confident, you have your chin up and you're walking and you're doing your thing and you see somebody and you say, hi there. Or you just go, good morning, right? So that's just one that doesn't have any kind of other thing. You just say, good morning, in a professional way and walk on and see what comes back to you. Then that might be able to help you. But ladies, be careful because, again, culturally, you have to deal with the man-woman interaction there. I don't think so much from women, but let's be real. Most attackers are men. By far, most attackers statistically are men. So when you're using an interview ping, it's almost always with a man. And that will give you something that in an unknown way, you can kind of see what's going on. Now, I'm not at all telling you to use an interview ping where you have an established threat. If body language, you looked at the eyes, you looked at the hands, and you went, ooh, threat there. I'm not saying to go, hi, how are you today? And see what the heck is going on, because those other cues have already established you have a problem. What I am saying is use the interview ping to give you additional information when what you have is maybe a little sketchy. Try that interview ping. Let me know how it goes for you, and I hope it helps you to cover your asp.